after the meeting, be sure to end the meeting, close the laptop. Okay. Now we will stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. And we have a quorum. We are missing Nancy and Frank. Okay.
So, you need to let it go.
Adoption of minutes from February 10th, 2025 and March 10, 2025. You guys had a chance to look over those?
I did. I have no issues on my end. Did you need to look at them, Gene?
I looked at them earlier.
I
Just had no chance.
Yeah, I glanced over them. So,
I can pull them up if you guys need to look at them. Oops.
well, that'll be on the,
It won't be up there. But that would have been February.
okay. I need a motion to accept the minutes.
I make a motion to accept both the 2/10/2025 and the 3/10/2025 meeting minutes.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Okay. And then I'll have to call those up and then print them. So, yeah, Marcellus,
Yeah,
are you signing as a secretary or can someone else sign them?
I would need to sign them as secretary.
Okay.
I have copies of all the minutes here.
Do you have the ones from last time? Because did I sign them?
No, we haven't gotten signatures on any.
Okay, because I think the meeting is over. We all just kind of left.
Yeah,
Okay, I will sign those before we leave, and then we'll get them to Karina, and she can get them filed away.
perfect.
Okay, so now,
And you want to see what the
Yeah.
next. Oops, let's go to.
agenda considerations. Anybody have anything with the agenda that they need to add or?
There's one comment, I just wanted to address it with Ben. I don't know if it's
Yes.
appropriate time or not.
No.
Ben was concerned, do you remember when you asked me about the square footage
Yes.
of the building? And I
Yeah.
said we had to take a look at did you get that closed, that loop closed?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
So.
Then I've got nothing there to add,
Okay.
as long as Ben got his question answered.
I have. Well, that can come, I guess, under new business. And Deb might be able to answer a question too.
Okay.
Is there any public comment?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Then new business. I don't know if you guys, do you know what Humphrey's first name is? I have treated the Humphrey boys. I can't remember all their names.
No.
There's a Humphreys young man. He's still a kid to me.
Yeah, you gotta stop saying those things, right?
Yeah. Is interested in being on the APC. He doesn't live in town, but he's an employee. So he would actually take his place as the employee. He's on the utility board. And he's also, and that would just make him a town member here on the APC. Because then we'd have Ben, Frank, who's the marshal, and then the Humphreys. We have to have three. That's correct, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
And he works for the utility.
Yeah, he works for the utilities.
Oh.
Cameron?
No. I was just talking to him today. That's terrible.
He's got that beard. Oh, well, we digress.
It's all right.
Yeah, I know. If he walked in
So
the
he's
room,
interested in becoming part of
Yes,
the
he wants to be a part of it. And by him being on the, with utilities, he can get us some insights, and he also wants to learn how things go. I mean, he's wants to be involved. So maybe someday we can talk about moving to Thorntown.
I say yes.
Someone that wants to be involved.
Yeah, so if that's not a problem, because that would actually give us 4 town employees on the board, but I don't think that's not a problem. We'll just go with it.
Yeah, I'll be researching your membership when we start doing your ordinances, so.
Okay. I could also check with Amy.
All right.
Okay, I thought there was something else. No. Old business is our fence ordinances. Did you have something on that?
So Marcellus, did you receive my emails?
No.
I sent them that night when you said I sent them again.
Oh, that is so bizarre.
Okay.
So I'll need your phone number. Let me do the phone number thing with you. Are you going to be in your office tomorrow?
Yes.
All right. If that's the case, I will be at my desk and I'll be able to go back and forth, but I didn't get a rejection.
And that's actually under your other businesses.
Yeah.
The short of.
Fire away. What's your phone number?
Hold on.
Sure.
I have to. have to look it up.
That's fine. I totally
My
get
office
that.
phone.
Yep. Understand.
We have 0 viewing.
You need your office
Mhm.
phone number, Marcellus?
Yeah.
It's 317-566-0050,
Thanks, Steph.
extension 15129. That's
Oh.
well, I have an email from him, so it's added at the bottom.
15129.
Yes.
Got it.
Does that sound right, Marcel?
That sounds right.
Okay.
I'll give you a buzz tomorrow. What time do you get in?
Anytime after 9 is good.
After 9. Okay.
So that means, do you have anything you need to do with us tonight, or you just,
On your agenda, we were gonna talk about your ordinance updates. So I was just gonna be available to field any questions or talk to you about how the process would work and go from there.
because we're adding fence ordinances, we don't have any right now.
So we're gonna give you all new, we're gonna take what you currently have and make it even better.
Awesome.
Make
Yeah,
sure we
I've-
cover everything.
Yeah, I was looking through multiple fence ordinances and they were all similar but different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were important components that needed to be in all of them. And then there were things that were probably tailored towards the town. But we get a lot of questions on fencing. And the other thing that we've gotten questions on is building signage.
Mhm.
That's the other one. A concern of one member of the town council was, it's installed, but did they install it where it's not going to blow off at the first wind and hurt somebody below them? Those are the questions, which makes sense. And
Yeah, I
as
know.
I see signage starting to pop up. It may be too late right now, but we need to get ahead of it.
I know some towns, like this, especially when they're revitalizing it, they want everybody to have a sign that hangs out.
Mhm.
Well, some places want all signs that are flat against the building.
I know Carmel has all signs have to be ground mounted. No signs in the air.
No signs in the air.
Yeah, no full sign.
Yeah.
Well, I know Jamestown just did some mega updates to their sign code and mostly focused on the downtown buildings and they kind of have, here's your package of square footage. You can use it in different ways or distribute it how you want on your building. And that seems to work pretty good as well. So lots of ways to do it. You just can't tell them what they can put on it,
Right. That's
unfortunately.
down at French Lick at the conference. I went to the presentation that's actually a couple lawyers and we're getting.
Yep, I sat in on that same
Yeah.
one, yeah.
And actually, there were 2 people from our town council in that as well. We can't tell them what they can say on it. Just tell them how, the physical
Right.
aspect of it.
And make sure there's a fall in the building.
Right. So you're going to be working with the update of all our ordinances.
With Marcellus.
Doing any rewording of them or?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
like I said, you'll have a whole new document, it'll be reformatted, so it's easy to find the information and make updates when the state tells you, hey, these changes need to go in. And yeah, I've written about 35 across the state so far, and my formatting seems to work pretty good, so.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna run with that, and
I look at them about every day.
Yeah. This is, yeah. I don't know if this is what somebody has to put in, but I just ended up putting this in our ordinance book or our,
okay,
and I took out about this much. I mean, Kareem did a lot of updating and, pulled things out, things that were outdated and, like that.
yeah, and these are just gonna be the ordinances that the plan commission oversees.
Right.
Not the rest of the town.
Right, just our
Yeah.
150s.
Right.
Is what that falls under.
Yeah.
Okay, now, tomorrow, is there any other new business?
To just real clear, Deb and Marcellus, they're going to be working on updating our current ordinances,
Right, just the
our
APC.
current APC ordinances.
You can say update, you can say overhaul,
Yeah,
they're
overall,
gonna be a lot,
Yeah.
look a lot different.
revamp, modernize.
So, in this conversation, we're just looking at, thinking about the fence zoning, if you will, or the signage also.
But it's going to be
The
everything.
new ordinances will cover everything,
Yeah. we'll have all
land
that.
uses, zoning
Okay.
districts, everything from parking to landscaping, subdivision procedures, all that.
Mhm. And speaking of subdivisions, Marcellus and I are meeting with somebody tomorrow. Do you remember his name?
Tim,
Yeah,
Is that the one for the low income?
yeah, I think it
Tim
was.
Silver, yes.
Yeah.
The email you forwarded,
Yeah.
Yeah, you sent that one. It's just,
Tim Silver.
Tim Silver.
Tim Silver. Is that my phone?
It's mine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got my.
Oh, mine's still sitting there on charge. I haven't read it. I was just gonna look up the email. Tim Silver, we're meeting with him tomorrow at 3:30. Kareem wants to be in there as well. That's, and we're just gonna meet in here. If anybody's not working or anything at that time, wants to come in and stop by, but, Marcellus, myself, and Kareem are gonna meet with Tim Silver about, because he called it an opportunity, so.
Who is he with?
He's with Giving Tree Ventures. It seems like he started up a small, he seems like he's a small time developer who's kind of getting started.
Yeah.
When I looked it up, so. Giving Tree Ventures.
And it's for lower income housing, because, you know, a lot of people, their main concern was people aren't gonna be able to afford these houses out there. People that live in town, well, people live in town, have houses, they live in town.
It's
But-
not going to be people from town. It's going to be people
Yeah, but, you
somewhere
know,
else.
with, everything coming in, the developments, it's gonna be, you know, critical. I think to have some affordable housing. But we'll have to see what he has to say tomorrow, and
We need affordable housing because people that manage the stores and everything else need places to live and they
Yes.
can't commute. And there's no train or taxi, so definitely have to have provisions for that.
So if it's affordable housing, does this refer to points of help, financial help for people getting into a house, or
that's what we'll find out.
we'll find that out?
Yeah.
Now, for what it's worth, comparison I have is that a sister of mine, not living in Massachusetts for maybe 8 years now, but they were in Mattapoisett, which was a small town outside of Boston.
Mhm.
Mattapoisett therefore was known as the place where the people who earn the lower wages, they live there. They can't afford Boston. So. Oh, yeah. Well, they had a nice house anyway.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a nice community. So, I don't think we have anything else. Is that a crack right here?
There's a crack on this.
Okay. Do we have any other announcements?
I would like to pop back to Deb and Marcellus on the updating.
That-
What kind of timeline are we looking at?
So, are we thinking starting in May?
Probably, yeah, I'll start drafting and
Yeah, so she's gonna start drafting in May. And basically the way we're kind of structuring this is Deb will do, the drafting for the ordinance. And then we will, probably throughout that process be in communication with you guys, make sure we're, sort of,
keeping you in the loop.
yeah. And, then we'll have a sort of midway point where we have a draft, that we can certainly present, to APC as well as, is that, we wanna have some public input?
Well, what I'd like to do is work with the plan commission and get that first draft written, and then when everybody's kind of satisfied, then we open it up for like a public open house or a day that folks can come in and ask questions. We can talk to them about what's changed or why things have changed. And then once we get that public input incorporated, then it would go to the plan commission for a recommendation, and then the town council would adopt it. And of course, it's still a living document. After you adopt it,
Oh, yeah.
changes are gonna come up. So don't think it's a once and done and we're stuck with it forever. I mean, changes always come up, the state statutes change, and we gotta be reactive to that as well. And so it's really a good time to get started because we'll know what's coming out of the General Assembly and what we need to
Oh, that's good, yeah.
get on, yeah.
And if we feel like we'll have a big turnout, we can move the meeting to the library because they have a bigger hall.
Yeah.
To meet.
So you're thinking of May starting, is it like a year-long process or?
No, we'll be done by the end of the year, I
Okay.
expect. So the way the contract y'all had executed, kind of let us produce that draft and then bring it to you instead of piecemealing it incrementally, that's what takes forever. So
Mhm.
you already have some ordinances, so we'll pull those in. If you were a community that had never had the ordinances before, then yeah, that would be a longer process because we want to educate you and bring you up to speed along the way. But you're already ahead of the game, so.
Well, and one of the things that was brought up to when we first started the APC was the tiny homes. And right now we have, it has to be a minimum of 900 square feet, which tiny homes don't meet that.
I thought it was 12.
Well, some of them could, but
Yeah,
I thought it was 1,200.
I thought it was
Oh, I think-
anything below 1,200.
Yeah.
So
Is this a matter of words then, that we don't call it wouldn't be called tiny home?
Well, no.
well, that's what our ordinance.
It doesn't say
What is
tiny
that?
homes, it says you cannot have anything less than 1,200 square feet.
because when those ordinances were written, they weren't contemplating tiny homes.
And that's something we could look at, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see something like that taking the place of trailer parks.
Well, and you regulate them almost identically,
Mhm.
because really they're the same product, they just look a little different. But we'll also want to talk about accessory dwelling units, whether it's attached to your home or a freestanding accessory dwelling. A lot of communities are making allowances for those, and those seem to have a huge impact on your housing supply.
Because a lot of people will get them for like a mother-in-law apartment, for lack of another term.
Or they could rent them out to somebody, or Airbnb. It just gives that another level of a small home for somebody who might not otherwise be able to afford something.
So how do RVs fit into this?
No. RVs are not designed for year-round, long-term housing. Anything that's considered a residential dwelling unit has to have the HUD sticker or the proper licensure for that. But RVs, campers are not designed for long-term living outside of a campground.
And of course, in this community, you have a long-standing park outside of town, and there's a section, and these people who live there, they've got the modulars and such, they are year-round.
Right, and that's great,
Mhm.
that's great, but they're in a campground that has amenities and utilities and the things that they need, but putting it in somebody's backyard and running an extension cord is a little different than what a campground has to offer.
Exactly.
12 gauge would work.
They're talking about a campground outside of Lebanon, gonna be a pretty big one, not only for year-round housing of residents, but also all the workers that are coming for the LEAP project, they want housing, so.
Right. Where, that you're gonna do is.
Southwest of town, but it's in the county's jurisdiction, so I wanna say it's off of 200 South,
Okay.
west of 39 out there. Somebody got property from grandma and wants to do something fun with it, so. They said they eventually want to turn it into a tiny home development, but could do it incrementally if they allow camping for a while until the utilities get out there and things like that.
That'd be something nice for the snowbirds.
Yeah.
Well, any other business or questions for our experts?
Well, I guess I do since I'm out there with the construction. Would MS Consulting have a engineer that would come out and
I would need to check what,
look, because it's like,
On behalf of the town,
yes, I know I'm the building inspector, but there's still things that are beyond my purview, and that's
yeah, and
Are you talking about the wastewater taps, water
the
taps?
the lift station. Yes, they.
yeah, it's-
I was.
Yeah, I
Well,
think-
I'm gonna
I
be.
think
I'm gonna be
so.
very.
Yeah, well, Dan could probably answer that
No, yeah,
question better.
You definitely need someone.
And so it's like I just
I think so. I think it's something that would be covered in
because
In the
they've
contract.
put one lift station in. They're getting ready to start on the other out there. So it's just all I can say. Looks good. You know, you did everything you said you were going to do. You know, that's
If Dan would be able to answer your question. You have
Okay.
that, Dan?
yeah.
I figured, yeah,
I'll give him a call.
yeah, he can answer that question for you.
Okay. Because it's like
Yeah, I think
I'm-
actually I saw an email about some submittals today for that lift station.
okay, good. I mean, because they are communicating with me, and I am talking with them probably every other day. But it's just
Yeah, it's like
I can tell you all about the house, but
different kind of.
Yeah,
elements.
I wouldn't beat
Infrastructure
yourself.
type.
That's a different.
yeah,
That's a different type of inspection, different type of construction. It's not. Yeah, it's not definitely not a building construction.
Our elementary school here on the south side of town, it's an interesting story. It still has the original gym from, if you saw the sign coming in, the state champions. That's where they went to school.
Awesome.
Some of the building is still original. They've done a lot of additions, but their last renovation and additions, because they were trying to do a better pickup and drop off for the kids and make it safer. That part basically is in the county and the schools in town. And
Oh,
there's
that's
stuff out
right.
there and they had to have two different inspectors coming in and, it was,
But a disaster.
yeah. It went pretty smooth though, and the superintendent worked with us really well.
Let's go.
Because I know him, I've worked with him.
Somebody bought the abandoned high school, south of Lebanon, can't remember the name of it.
Right there at 32, going out of town.
No, this
Or
is
the one way south, Pinnell,
Canal, that's it.
Purple Dragons.
Yeah, and they were talking about doing a wedding venue in there, and they asked me out on a site visit to look at it with them, and oh my gosh.
Did you wear a mask because of the asbestos?
Well, I pulled my shirt off because I wasn't quite prepared for that, but yeah, that is quite a sight in there, but a neat building if they can get it turned around. I would want to do it, but
Again, brief history, Washington Township out that way, Thorntown, Dover, the building's gone just the past few years, but wasn't being used for several years before that. Granville Wells and Canal. And then Washington Township came to Thorntown. Canal went to Wells, and half the kids at Dover went to Wells. Was 32 was kind of like a dividing line, and the other half came to Thorntown. And it's interesting. That's why the
Reliving your
logo
glory
is.
days.
Mhm.
Reliving your glory days.
I like learning the history of where I live.
Yeah.
But the logo is the star, the Western Moon Stars, and then they have a star inside the star. There's a little star in each corner for each school.
Oh, neat.
By the way, that building you were speaking of, I was doing some, I'm a sheet metal worker, okay, the duct work, metals and stuff. So anyways, I'm talking about Indianapolis, east side, what was the Eastgate Mall. And so construction started like on one end. IMPD, Homeland Security moved in and all that. But the rest of the building, not done. So what did the rest of the building look like? It looked like if there was a movie and it showed you that an apocalypse had happened. Because all these building materials had fallen off, this, that, and the other. Roof not in total disrepair. You know, you didn't want to walk across the roof unless you understood what was underneath you. But in the air, there was a given day where the doors open and a guy and a gal from some office walking through, and the gal said, "Is this not good?" And the guy said, "Oh, it's okay." No, it wasn't okay, because I'm stating that there were crews that got sick, and I had like a chest cold for a month.
I believe it.
So it's similar to histoplasmosis when you think of birds, and their doo-doo is not cleaned up. You know, something you breathe in.
Yep.
And so it's like, I've been there, I've seen it. And I'm not saying you were describing that, but you know, it has to be cleaned out,
Yeah.
abated.
Somebody was storing a bunch of stuff in there.
Yes.
Just crap.
I
So,
played volleyball in there with some friends. They needed somebody that owned it, and we got in there with bunch of us. We played volleyball. But that school and Washington Township, I think, in basketball, you had 10 seconds to get across this line, but then you could go back to this line. They had two lines. That might have been the free throw line area or something like that, but that's to do regulation. Clinton Prairie had one, I think, in Jefferson, Mulberry. Mulberry's gym was like that. So, a lot of changes.
well, that whole gym floor has fallen in that school
Whoa.
into the,
Yeah.
next floor down. So that was weird to see.
Yeah, my kids, well, nobody's watching. They were, the neighbor
It is recording.
the neighbor next to them, they would go over their house and they would go in the building. This was just like probably,
The canal.
yeah, this was probably like within the past 4 years.
Yeah, it's, they had a lot of no trespassing, but it was a big store. Somebody,
Yeah.
a lot, almost salvage type stuff. It wasn't even.
We good to go?
I think so.
Any other business?
None for me.
Have a motion to close the meeting at 6:38.
8.
All right, second.
Got it.
I made a motion, by the way.
I second it.
He seconded it.
Done.
And thank you for coming out for our short meeting.
Thank you, good
Hey,
meeting
no
you.
Thank you.
problem. I like short meetings.
And all the public hearings we've had for this going out here,